Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Philly Phone Book, a podcast archive. I am your host, Gideon, Caro, McDonald, and today we have a dear friend of mine, an illustrator, a game designer, and just an overall great person. We got Ella Carter.
Hi.
Ella Carter's here.
Hi. Thank you for having me. This is super exciting.
Yay! I know. Podcasts and all that. Yeah, thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm chilling.
Go birds.
Go birds! Go birds! I wonder if you all can guess what day specifically we're recording this.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, baby.
For now.
For now. God willing.
For now. So, hi, Ella.
Hi.
You are a friend of mine. I know you very well.
Mm-hmm.
However, that doesn't mean that everyone listening does. So, if you could be so kind and introduce yourself, give them your background, who you are, what you see yourself as in our community, in our artist community primarily, and a little bit of how we know each other.
Awesome. Okay, so hi, I'm Ella, like I said before. I am from the Philly suburbs originally. I'm from Ambler. Fern and I grew up together, so I go way, way back with them.
Mm-hmm.
I've been living in Philly since I moved to go to the University of the Arts, where
Look at that.
we met each other.
Rip.
I absolutely adore it here. I knew that I wanted to go to college in the city no matter what. I'm only applied to 2 art schools, UArts and more. You'll never guess where I'm at now.
I wonder why. There's a funny and unfortunately consistent theming to a lot of these episodes, probably for the prolonged future.
Yeah.
Hence all these people I met and where and why. But yeah.
In the city, I mean, I've always been an illustrator like you were. I was lucky enough for you to get me that job doing the mural at PAC. I love that job, even though I don't tend to do a lot of murals. It's been really fulfilling so far.
Absolutely.
I do a lot of freelance work. Most of my work is digital. So even though I am based in Philly, I am going to be doing a lot of work for people based in the West Coast, a lot of work in Washington, California for the company that I'm currently interning with, WeirdWorks. So they're very, very cool. Mostly, I'm just right now grinding on my senior thesis, trying to write that game. You're helping me write that game.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, and I think that overall, you are my biggest creative collaborator. I work a lot with my peers, but when it comes to stuff where it's I need a writer, I need somebody, I run to you.
Hey, what can I say?
You do good work.
I try.
Yeah.
I feel like we understand one another when it comes to a creative point of view. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, you'll tell me when stuff is bad.
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
I
we're
appreciate.
honest with one another.
Yeah. I mean, I knew you even before getting to UArts because I made that coming out as the creator of the UArts class of 2025 Instagram account.
A reveal. Face reveal, even though this is an audio format.
And the school's been gone for 6 months.
And the school's gone. Though the class of 2025, I'm sure will be excited to hear this.
Oh, yeah. I was desperate to make friends.
Yeah.
So desperate to make friends. I was so nervous that I would just be don't get me wrong. Love Fern. Hi, Fern, if you're listening.
Editor's note, I am in fact listening. Hi, Ella. I listen to every episode because I edit every episode. Okay, bye.
But I was I don't want to be that girl that's just with her roommate all the time. And I want to, you want to surround yourself with people that are better at art than you are so that you can learn from them.
Absolutely,
and that was a lot of the reason where I was I want to be surrounded by musicians, performers, illustrators, writers. And lucky for you and a lot of the other people that you've interviewed that I'm friends with, I've gotten that.
Yeah.
And did I reach out to you first or did you reach out to me?
If I remember correctly, it was the Instagram that you made.
Yeah.
That was basically open to submissions.
Mm-hmm.
Where you were just if you're coming into the class of 2025 here at UArts, submit photos and just a bio.
Oh yeah, my Google Photos looks crazy. From right before I got to school.
Old high school headshots of all these people.
Oh yeah.
And basically, another big thing of that was like looking for roommates if people needed roommates still. Because the whole like looking for dorm
because I lucked out with Fern.
Yeah, and I lucked out with my dear friend Lupine. But I believe that in just excitement, because I had already committed to UArts even prior when I went to pre-college there, I just jumped on the opportunity to get on the social media because I wanted to meet people. And then you replied as the UArts 2025 class account, being like, "Whoa, I like all those things too." and then
I would switch.
Yes, and then just gave me your actual Instagram.
Yeah,
and then we started talking from there, talking about we should play D&D before we had even met in person.
And did we?
And we sure did, but we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of roommates were found because of you. So those of you who this applies to, give a thanks to Ella Carter for
I'm doing my part.
That sense of community that we were able to have for a hot minute.
It's good. It was good while it lasted.
Yeah, totally.
It's still lasting. I think I'm here. I'm still hanging out with you. I'm still hanging out with a lot of the guests that you have on.
Still in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Now at More.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that more as well.
More with 2 O's.
Yeah, you see. But before we get into more specifics regarding your art, you did mention that you knew for a fact that you wanted to be in the city for art and for college. And let me just ask why. Obviously, Ambler's not too far out, and so you had a connection to the city. But Philadelphia has such a specific and rich culture, and I know that UArts wasn't necessarily a huge art school that was always on people's radar. So I'm always curious as to how people found it and why it brought you here. And ultimately, now that you've lived here for quite a while now, why do you like it so much? Why do you want to stay here? And ultimately, what has it taught you? Because I believe this city is full of lessons.
Oh, yeah. So when I was in high school, I didn't think that I wanted to do art professionally for a pretty solid while. I mean, I always loved it. I always knew that I wanted to be creative in some capacity. But I think I had that, my high school was very academically vigorous, and I was trying to keep pace with all my peers. And so I think I had this kind of toxic mindset where I was like, well, I'm too smart for this.
Oh.
Just because I can do art doesn't mean that I could I could be a lawyer. I could be an English teacher. I could go into poli-sci or whatever.
What would you have pursued otherwise?
Political science or English. I wanted to do art history for a little bit. This is where that started to trickle in. Video game development, programming. I was on the robotics team in middle school. It was
cool.
It was fun. I did the web design part of it. I didn't like working with the actual robot.
Shocker.
Yeah, but I realized my freshman year of high school, I took music classes. I took band. In middle school, my band director, he went to University of Arts, Travis Hill. And then in high school, my band director, Michael Hood, went to UArts. And so it was always on my radar from them because they would talk about their time at the university before it became what it was and then what it fell apart into.
Yeah, you're a musician too, which is something I often forget about you.
Me too, if I'm being honest.
What did you play primarily?
Bass clarinet was my favorite. I started out with B-flat clarinet, moved to alto saxophone, soprano saxophone, alto clarinet, contrabass clarinet, settled on bass clarinet and tenor saxophone for marching band. Yeah, I was one of those kids.
And so learning about your UArts teachers as a musician, would you have gone to UArts as a musician?
No.
Did that ever cross your mind?
No, because if I'm being honest, I was much better at visual art than I was at music.
Gotcha.
I love music so much. I can't read music at all.
Hey, that's okay.
I'm terrible.
Believe
at
it or not,
music.
a lot of really good musicians can't.
Yeah, well, when it came to marching band stands tunes, I was really good at memorizing everything.
Gotcha.
So I could play it off the dome, whatever. I could, when I was in senior year of high school, I was able to play our show from 8th grade. I had that memory, so that was okay, but I wouldn't, sight reading was a nightmare. Auditions would freak me out so bad.
Fair.
Hated it. So I knew that while I loved music, I didn't ever see myself in a professional capacity. When my band directors found out that I was going to UArts, they had never seen me as a visual artist. And I say literally, they had never seen me do visual art.
Gotcha.
So they were just oh, music. And then I had to be no, actually, guess what? I do a lot of other stuff too.
Mm.
And so that was very fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't get me wrong. I think it's a good school for music. It's
Of
just,
course.
I don't think I was a good enough musician to go there for music.
Well, yeah, you made the right choice.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, you ended up committing to UArts and living here
Mhm.
with visual art as your choice. What do you think your time in the city has taught you?
Well, I also went to pre-college. I went to the Saturday school.
Yes.
So we never ran
right.
into each other then. I would take the regional rail in every Saturday with my friend Emily. It was very, very fun. And I just liked the grit that it had. I mean, I'm a very nervous person, you know this. And so my parents would be like, Ella, aren't you scared of like going to the big city? And I was like, well, no, I'm actually less anxious there because you're never alone. There will always be somebody willing to help you out if something bad goes down, God forbid.
True.
So
yeah.
I don't think the people of Philadelphia are exceptionally like kind overall, but it's like, you know, they'll give you that like, oh, come on, like I've got you. Like it's a very tough love city, which I adore.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the sense of community is sort of a built-in understanding.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like I feel as though I've seen more people run to help someone more often than just like immediately ignore.
I mean, when all the videos came out about that plane crash that
most recently
by the mall, it was, I mean, horrible to see, but like there was a little bit of hope in that. You were seeing people like stop their cars, get out and run into this like fireball.
Yeah, that's true. It runs deep here.
Yeah. And I also feel like I've been very much welcomed. Like I've always been open up and like I'm from the suburbs. Like we're going to be honest, I've been around Philly adjacent things, but I'm from Montgomery County.
Montco. You're not one of those people from Montco that's like, oh, I'm Philly all the way. I'm from Philly.
No. No. If they're from like the other side of the country, I'm like, I'm from the Philly area. But especially now that I've lived here a long time, or a long enough time where I'm like, yeah, PAX Unplugged, that's my quote quote hometown convention.
Gotcha.
So like that when it's coming like to a professional space, yes, I'll claim Philadelphia. But if I'm like with my friends, I'm from Montgomery County.
For sure. Yeah. Well, absolutely. And so with your time at University of the Arts, as well as more, we are now at the point of our lives where we're gearing up towards graduation. And you've had a lot of projects over that time.
Yeah.
Plenty that I've been a part of, plenty that have been solely you, plenty with other collaborators of ours. And I'd love to just give you the floor to talk about what you do. I mean, you're an illustrator, but you're also a game designer and plenty of other titles I'm sure you'd like to use. And yeah, why do you make it? Your inspirations, what you plan to make, and what you see yourself as artist-wise.
Yeah. When it comes to like artist-wise, I only recently started considering myself a game designer. So I think it's nice that you gave me that. Because while I see myself as somebody that is, maybe I am a like technically competent writer, I don't like writing. And so that's why in a lot of my projects, I'll be like, oh, Gideon, does this sound dumb? Like, I don't know how to reword it. Right now, I'm working on my senior thesis, which is a tabletop RPG using a 1d10 roll under system called Underfoot. I have developed the system myself. It's inspired by a lot of like vintage tabletop RPGs, like AD&D, and contemporary ones that use those similar mechanics, like Perils and Princesses by Outrider Creative. That's probably the biggest inspiration for it. It's a silly game where you play as a fairy or a sprite or a brownie, any kind of fae, and you just try and navigate the world among the giants within the house or the garden or the woods beyond. And I think the reason why I made that, it was honestly just like a vessel for storytelling. Like, I am an illustrator because I enjoy making work for other people, whether that is for the D&D campaign we're in, whether that's for clients, whether it's for this podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The art that you see on every single one of these episodes, and the main cover is done by Ella.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
Of course.
Or like even metal bands out in like Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, I like making work that and then giving it to other people and then being like, whoa, like I didn't think this could be like a thing. And I think a lot of other illustrators feel similarly. I mean, there are people who do it for themselves. Like they're like, these are my products I'm selling. I know Maria, it's kind of a lot of her shop is oriented more like that. But for me, I just love client work so much.
Gotcha.
and just like being able to tell stories or being able to amplify stories, if that makes sense. Like you can have like words on a page and it'll be amazing, but like words on a page plus like a beautifully designed book cover, I think just really ties it all together, because at the end of the day, people do judge books by their covers a lot.
Yeah.
And so a lot of illustrators and designers kind of make it their life's work to make sure that that is everything's wrapped up in a pretty little package, and just, you know, make it their own while amplifying it for others.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so Dungeons and Dragons is clearly a, you know, driving force in your inspiration for work.
Yeah.
Would you say that that sort of was the kickoff for your illustrating career as a young
Are you trying to get me to say that you've made me a game designer? Because you're kind of right.
Well, not me in particular. I mean, you've been playing D&D for a long time.
Yeah, but the first campaign that I did art for was the campaign that you ran.
Was ours. Yes, that's true.
So I think that that group specifically didn't kick us off, or me off specifically. I didn't really think that I was, like, beginning of freshman year, I didn't think that I was, again, talented enough to do game art. And then as I branched away from D&D and started playing other systems, mainly Monster of the Week and Vampire the Masquerade, I realized, I was like, well, fantasy art and art for tabletop games isn't this one monolith. And again, as I got older, as I moved through school, I was able to tailor my art to get closer to that standard that's seen a lot in Wizards of the Coast products, but also realizing that I can make something my own, and I can have an independent system that people will still play. And that's where Underfoot and my senior thesis comes in.
Gotcha. Yeah. And with that, you've had other projects along the way. We have a project together called Ornaments of Amoria.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, I give you half-baked ideas, like the ever-present horse GPS pitch.
One day.
And then you make them something actually viable and playable in-game, and you write out a wonderful description for them, and then I draw them, and we post them on the internet for people to use in their home games.
Yeah. It is free homebrew for D&D. I think it's a excellent representation of collaborative art.
Yeah.
Because something that I think, and we've talked about this before, but something that I am grateful for with our time at UArts was that we truly were surrounded by every kind of artist, or a lot of them at least. And so we were able to pull inspiration, like you were saying earlier in the interview, that we were able to pull inspiration and be able to try more expansive things than, say, if we stuck to our
we
majors.
leaned on each other.
Exactly.
I mean, even today, one of my friends that I did marching band with, he reposted the Fly Eagles Fly, like, classic composition, and I swiped up and I was like, I know that guy. Like, we went to school together. He was in my folklore class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's just crazy to see, like, I mean, Philly's not a small city, but it's a tight-knit one.
For sure. Yeah. And as myself, Ornaments of Amoria is something that I have a lot of fun with, because I really only started to learn that I had a passion for writing through the D&D campaign that we've been having. To those who don't know. And it's been brought up, it was brought up briefly in potential previous episodes that may already have come out. But it is a game that I am the dungeon master for, that Ella, in my opinion, really pushed to happen, that was started with me and you, along with Fern Morehouse, Isabel Penn, Lupine McVeigh, Valerie Berry, and Samantha Belding. An amazing table of people.
Oh yeah, we lucked out.
We did. Playing D&D with a table of actors, along with, like, you know, illustrative brains and, like, musician brains. Like, it's very cool.
Oh yeah.
To see it happen. And we've had a campaign with a long-term story
It's
and
starting to wrap up too.
close to wrapping up, but it's lasted about 3 years now.
Very bittersweet.
Very bittersweet, but all stories come to an end. And we're figuring out how this one's going to end and when.
Yeah.
But it's definitely inspired a lot of work, like a lot of really cool art. I mean, how many how many pieces of art have you made for this campaign alone?
Okay. Definitely over 500.
That's awesome.
Like well over 500 pieces.
And I had to pay for none of it.
We can debate rates later.
Okay.
But when it comes to like, I mean, even just like looking at the wall up here, I have how many pieces up
in the room that we're recording?
Yeah, in the room that we're recording in, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 posters up that
5 as I haven't hung up the other one.
Oh, awesome. So 5 things up here that are like specifically D&D group posters.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and honestly, those posters have gotten me jobs. Like,
yeah,
fully have gotten me work in the tabletop RPG space. So the fact that I have like the fact that I have professional level inspiration to draw from and then make professional level work to push out and get more jobs is completely invaluable, like strictly from a business sense. And like, I mean, we've collaborated with other homebrew accounts.
We have, yeah.
We collaborated with 3 Stars Bazaar on an item that really honestly like boosted our rates a lot.
For sure.
So it's just all extremely exciting. And I wouldn't have been able to break into the tabletop RPG space as easily without that campaign specifically.
For sure. Yeah.
What is your favorite item that we've posted to ornaments so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. Huh.
I know mine. It's an early one too.
It's an early one?
Yeah.
I honestly think so far, I really like the Trouble Bubble.
Really?
I really like the gum arrow. We made an arrow that's just gum. It has a cool, it's a very cool concept, so you can go check it out.
It sounds cooler than it is. It sounds cooler.
Of course,
than it
yeah,
is.
it sounds cooler than it is. I really like the Trouble Bubble. I also really like the one we just made for the Eagles, which is the helm of the Prideful Eagle.
Didn't we come up with the Trouble Bubble while watching Wildcrats together?
Probably.
That's awesome.
Probably. We have a love for similar media like that, and Wildcrats was one of them.
My favorite is the Gloss of Gab.
Oh, yeah, you do like that one.
I'm a sucker for girly items.
Of course.
And I really hope at some point that my D&D character in that campaign can get that lip gloss.
We'll see.
Okay.
We shall see. Yeah, we'll plug it again later, but Ornaments of Omoria, that's Omoria at the end for Omoria. We're on Instagram, so go check it out.
Yeah, new 5e compatible items weekly.
Yeah. Something else you talked about briefly that I'd love to touch on is that you also do some mural work.
Yeah.
And I know that you said you don't often do mural, but you've seemed to hit a little bit of a consistent mural job now with a employer of mine, Philly Performing Arts Center for Kids, also known as Philly PAC.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, Jess and the whole team have been nothing but kind to me, which honestly makes it easier to do the work, especially in the wintertime when I've just been trying to scrape off paint for hours.
Yeah.
But I love being able to have like total creative freedom. I mean, I pass along ideas to the team and I've never been told no, which I think is kind of incredible and a rarity in a lot of freelancing spaces.
What's the general sort of concept of the job that you got?
I am given a brief on what the 2 shows that you guys are putting on are, and then I kind of composite them into one composition, and then I paint it on a big old garage door.
Big old glass garage door.
Big old glass garage door. It's simple. It's just acrylics. I'm up on a ladder a lot of the time. Right now, I'm trying not to fall off of that ladder in front of a bunch of first graders and embarrass myself.
Yeah.
But it's great. And it's also great to be able to sit in on the rehearsals. The first mural I did, it was over the summer. So I was just by myself for like 90% of the time. But this time I get to like see how the kids are progressing and how the show is coming along. And it's also nice to see you in your element for that. Like, I feel like, I mean, we do another PAC affiliated project together, the D20 Adventure Camp Philly with you and your dad.
Yes, my father.
Yeah.
The only reason why I started playing D&D in the first place is thanks to my father, as he, played it when it came out and taught me as a child. Yeah, we started a D&D summer camp where it's just 1 week of, kids that are interested in learning how to play the game and have like a lesson in improv and collaborative storytelling, and sort of just an excuse to meet other kids that have the same interests. And this past summer, we brought you along and sort of added you as another dungeon master for that and teacher, which was immensely pivotal because, me and my father are two cis men. and there's only so much, there's only so many point of views you can have as a cis man, even in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
And having you at the table and for the, younger, kids, that's important. And clearly affecting us in the future because the majority of our newly registered kids coming into the summer are girls.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Like a hefty amount.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my God. Honestly, we can circle back. That's part of why I did Underfoot the way it is. Like, it's a game about fairies. Like, I'm specifically like leaning away from a lot of like the stereotypical like hyper-masculine traditional fantasy to kind of reach out to younger girls.
Yeah.
But that is incredible to hear.
Yeah, it's, I think especially in this climate currently, it's important to use the outlets that we have to bolster stories for young women and also like queer kids.
Yeah.
And I think PAC does an excellent job at that, as well as D&D. And I think Underfoot could do that as well.
Yeah,
like,
that's
easily.
Yeah, that's one of my goals is to be able to, to touch on complex story beats and like, socio-political themes, but not dumbing it down, but making it more digestible for children.
Right.
Like kind of similar to how Avatar: The Last Airbender was able to do it. That's, I think, a big point of inspiration.
That's interesting. Yeah. Excellent show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think D&D unfortunately can fall into like you said, aggressively masculine sort of energy. And it's in some ways, because of the way it was made originally. And
Gary Gygax, you're on my list.
Gary Gygax and unfortunately Tolkien in some ways, and the way that certain, species of character were written. It is important now, and I think it's very clear in popular media with like Critical Role and Dimension 20 and all of these other campaigns that are online that are both of our inspirations.
Even 1D&D.
1D&D, yeah, the new edition, that it needs to be an inclusive art.
Yeah.
That it is collaborative storytelling meant for literally anyone and everyone, and primarily excluded groups and discriminated against groups because it's escapism.
Yeah.
It's a place where people can, be what they want to be in a respected environment. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you said it better than I think I ever could, really. It's such an important thing for me. And so the idea that somebody could possibly have a negative experience doing one of the things that I love the most and have found the most like purpose in artistically just totally breaks my heart. So being able to be a part of things like D20 Adventure Camp Philly, and honestly, like peripherally a part of Philly PAC is really, really important because I get to be in a space where I'm able to see kids really grow and shine and feel safe and happy, which unfortunately isn't the case everywhere.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing me along for the ride.
Of course. And that's, the strength of culture that is Philly.
Yeah.
And the art world that we've been lucky enough to find ourselves in.
Yeah. I feel lucky to, Philly's got one of the most, I think the most amount of public art works in
That's
the country.
True.
Very, very proud to have some of my work be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. You recently won an award for your art. Am I correct?
I won an award at the Philadelphia Sketch Club, which
Cool.
is, thanks. It's one of the oldest clubs for art in America. I think it's the oldest one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I got third.
Hey!
I got third, and I honestly was shocked. I didn't think I was. The piece that won was a piece that I had made for the UArts publication Underground Pool. Jax Simonero wrote a piece called Bottle of Swine, and it was a horror story. It's very, very good. I recommend checking it out online. And I won a competition at UArts to have my illustration accompany it in the magazine. And then I was able to resubmit that piece to the Philadelphia Sketch Club. And then it won third in the student category. So I was proud of that. That was my first time submitting to the Philadelphia Sketch Club. I was encouraged to by Rich Harrington, one of my thesis professors at Moore College of Art. He's great. And it was honestly a very fulfilling experience and kind of gave me that confidence boost I needed after having, the school that I love closed. And this
Yeah.
is my first like more adjacent foray into the professional world.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of art.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ella,
Yes.
this is a question that I ask everybody on the podcast because I think it gives me everything I need to know.
Uh-oh.
Top of your head, what's your favorite movie? Top of your head?
Princess Bride.
Boom. See? Easy.
No.
It was the first thing that you said.
Yeah, it
meaning,
rotates.
Right, of course. But if it's the first thing to come to mind, in my opinion, it is truly where it sits in your heart or your brain.
Yeah.
Or at least right now.
Yeah.
So, Princess Bride. Excellent movie.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I really don't know. I mean, I think I saw it young enough. I mean, I'm a sucker for any movie that's like cheesy in that special fun way. I mean, like I think my love for Star Wars is a big part of that.
Mm.
And honestly, if I can be frank, a little bit of the Muppets movie.
Hey, yeah.
There's that like specific like vintage cheese factor combined with all of the fantasy aesthetics that I love, and it just has this sense of heart to it. That it's just a very genuine movie.
Yeah.
And I love it so much. It's very. I mean, it's iconic. I think it has inspired a lot of my work.
Absolutely. And why would you recommend it to somebody else?
I think because of that, just genuine. Like it's a love story. Everybody loves a love story, and it's just so hard on its sleeve. It doesn't try to pretend to be something that it isn't.
Yeah.
It is a fantastical love story, and I think seeing it as a kid, my reaction was very similar to it starts with like the grandfather reading to the kid, and the kid was like, "Oh, this is like cringe.
Yeah.
This is cringe, Grandpa. I don't want to read about a love story." And then like as the story continues, it's like, "Why are you stopping? Like I want to hear how it ends." It's just a simple love story with beautiful aesthetics and great performances. It's got a lot of heart.
Excellent performances. Yay. I love Princess Bride. I love asking this question because I also plan to either watch or rewatch these movies after the fact. So I'm now compiling a list of stuff I have to watch.
Yeah, well, let me know when you watch Princess Bride.
I will. I've already seen it, but I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Because it is one of my favorite movies as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, rad. You also have a love for Star Wars.
Yes.
Would you say that a certain Star Wars movie falls into a favorite movie position as well that you'd like to defend here and now?
You're baiting me. This isn't fair.
A little bit.
Actually, no. I think a lot of the reason why I like Princess Bride can be chalked up to similar reasons why I love The Attack of the Clones.
Boom. You said it. There it is.
It's my favorite Star Wars movie.
Episode 2.
It's not good.
No, it's not.
It's not peak cinema. The writing's got a lot to be desired. You've got Anakin Skywalker CGIing a pear to Padme. It's my favorite. It's my favorite Star Wars movie by like a lot too.
Yeah.
It is. I would say it's one of the only Star Wars movies that can arguably have a happy ending.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah,
fair.
There's not asking for a happy ending in Star Wars. I feel like shouldn't be a lot, but it is. And so I'm able to appreciate Attack of the Clones for what it is. And like, let's be real. Nostalgia's blinding me on this.
Yeah, that's okay.
Like incredibly. Like I saw Padme and I saw her outfits and I was like, oh my God, I want to be her. I want to be her so bad. Anakin's fine. Like whatever. Obi-Wan was rocking it on Camino. Just the clones in general are so interesting. And that's part of why I love the Clone Wars. Like my favorite Star Wars property of all time is the Clone Wars TV show.
Yeah.
And that one I will say, like the writing is good, the storytelling is good. It's a children's show, but it's not for children. It had a huge renaissance like during quarantine when the final season was coming out.
Right.
But you wouldn't have the Clone Wars without the Attack of the Clones and the Revenge of the Sith. So
very true. I think it says a lot about you. Episode 2's being something.
What does that say about me?
You said it already.
But pretty outfits, lots of heart.
You said it, not me.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Yes, I will also rewatch Attack of the Clones just because why not?
Can I be there for that too?
Sure.
I
Absolutely.
feel like I need to defend myself while you're watching it.
No, it's fine. I just wanted people to hear about your take on this because I also think, obviously, if you look at both Princess Bride and Attack of the Clones, they clearly influence your art.
Yeah, and Princess Bride is better. I will.
Well, yeah, but I can see why both. I mean, they're love stories.
Yeah.
Episode 2 is just a love story, a weird and kind of messed up one in a lot of facets, but hey, it is one.
A lot of the reason I love episode 2 is because towards the end, when they have all of the Jedi like coming down to, oh my god, like the Separatist army, whatever. I was that kid who was like, there are like no girls in Star Wars. So I would pause it and then I would pick out each of the female Jedi that were like in the background, and then I would go to my Lego Star Wars encyclopedia, and I had dog-eared all of the pages of the female Star Wars minifigures. So like Mon Mothma, that's my goat. Ayla Secura, love her. Shak Ti.
Wow.
I'm like a #1 Yaddle fan.
Yaddle. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, and I think that also influenced my art like a lot.
Hey, yeah.
Like when it comes to like getting girls, I don't think that girls need to be like tricked into liking nerdy things. More just like making it an environment, a safer environment for them to like nerdy things and not be as ridiculed. Because again, things were way different than when we were kids compared to now.
Yeah.
But still, it can be tough out there for any marginalized group
Of
in
course.
nerd spaces. Because like no matter which way you slice it, when it comes to like the D&D fan base and the Star Wars fan base, it's white guys all the way down.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, that's sweet.
Thanks.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, moving forward, this is a broad question. I understand, and a lot of people don't like it when I ask.
A broad street question.
What's your future? At least right now. You know, what looking forward, you know, we have a lot of cool stuff coming up. You have a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah.
And, you know, beyond graduation. And so I'm simply just curious, and I'm sure the people out there listening are, what are your ambitions, plans, goals? What are you excited to promote? And who do you want to collaborate with? And for those listening, you know, why they should hire you, why they should work with you.
Oh, okay. My elevator pitch.
A little bit, but also, you know, stuff that you're excited about to do moving forward. And, you know, maybe that alone will get people interested.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked with you about this like pretty at length at this point, but a game publisher.
Yeah.
I think that with the stuff that we've done so far, it can be taken not more seriously, but we can monetize it pretty easily with what we have so far, even. Because we know that we work well together business-wise and creatively. And I think that it would just be like an easy next step. I would like to continue working with the companies that I've already built business relationships with, like WeirdWorks. I think that my bosses, Tom and B, are an inspiration when it comes to our creative collaborations, because again, they are two friends who met playing D&D, and now it's like they've got like a little team of like Tom, his wife, and B going around to different conventions and selling their work and having people like freak out because they love it so much.
Yeah.
Anything. I just want to make people happy when they see my work, if that like makes sense. It doesn't have
absolutely.
to be. I'm not like striving for like fame. Anything. If anything, like I think I would be happier not being crazy well known. But like if I have like some notoriety if people know that I make quality work in the tabletop RPG space, in the game space in general, in the fantasy art space, then that is enough for me, and I will be happy. And honestly, if I can stay in Philly for as long as I can, I would like to.
Of course, yeah.
There's a lot of work out in Washington State, and if I get some crazy awesome job at like Wizards of the Coast, if you're listening, would love to work with you guys.
Hey, me too.
Yeah.
Why not?
But so like if that happens, yeah, I'll go to Washington, I'll do the work, I'll, you know, get my work out to more people, make more people happy. But if I can stay in Philly, I'm staying in Philly. Like at this point, this is my home, whether that's the suburbs or like right by City Hall.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah. With this game publishing moment, what do you think the next, you know, year and a half, 2 years entails for you?
With Underfoot coming out so soon, it is, I mean, the writing is like, I'd say 2/3 of the way from being like finished. We've got the rough draft like pretty much done. The art is like halfway there, but I'm getting to the point where it's like I need to find a publisher, I need to find a distributor, because I don't know how to do that on my own. I'm 21.
Editor's note, she is now 22. Happy belated birthday, Ella.
Yeah. I've been doing games for a few years, but I haven't been, you know, self-publishing. So I have been using my connections that I've made at PAX Unplugged and through my work with Weirdworks, Inkwell Ideas, and Let's Roll Press to branch out, search for publishers. This coming Thursday, I have a pitch meeting with Hit Point Press, and they are one of the biggest, tabletop game distributors. They're based out in Canada. I've been a big fan of their work. They've done stuff for Griffin's Saddlebag. They've done the Deck of Many, which is very crazy. And they carry some of my boss's tarot cards, like D&D inspired tarot cards.
Gotcha.
So that's where I met the founder through my art director, B. Ho, who is incredibly talented. And I just emailed him and I was like, hey, remember me? My boss, like, they dragged me over and they were like, this is the founder of Hit Point Ideas. Like, this is the founder of like our Talsorian Games or whatever. And so it was kind of surreal because I don't think they knew how young I was. I think they knew that I was younger, but I don't think they knew that I was 21. So I have this kind of like fake it till I make it mentality a little bit, but it's weird. I'm not faking it. It's like, this is my work. This is what I believe in. I believe that I'm good at this.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that I'm good enough for Hit Point Press.
It's all about confidence.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'm good for Table Cat Games. I have an interview with them soon. I think I am also going to be meeting with Space Penguin Inc. games. And also just, even if I end up self-publishing, getting it in stores. The Exalted Funeral company, I've been in talks with them. The Plus One Experience, there are two companies that do similar things. They're being incredibly supportive because it's weird. I say I've been faking it till I make it because I end up in situations where I'm talking to really like important people in the industry, but I tend to be very upfront with them. I'm like, this is my first game that I'm making myself. I've made art for games. I'm used to taking direction, but I think that they notice my genuine love for this and my passion for it, and that is endearing to them. And that kind of makes up for me being like I have messages in the Plus One Experience like work Discord being like, this is my first game I've ever made.
Yeah.
I love it. And then this is my art. I believe in my art. I believe in my work. These are my collaborators, but like I need your help. I need this final push. I need to leverage their experience in the games industry to make a product that sells and not just a product that looks pretty and plays well.
Yeah. I would say confidence and, good work and passion can easily make up for inexperience.
Yeah. I mean, like,
or a lack of experience.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen me. I think we're both like crazy driven.
Yeah. We try.
Yeah. And obviously, like, work and stuff gets in the way because when we're not collaborating on like ornaments, we're doing other things that are important. But just that drive and that like hunger for like, I need this to work. I need to be doing what I love. I honestly see a lot in Philly, like in the creative space, whether that's performing arts, music, visual art, writing, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, at PAX Unplugged, it was just like kind of electric because even though there were people coming over from all over the world, the people that were based in Philly, you could tell.
For sure. Shout out Philly Game Shop.
Yeah. Oh my God. Those guys are great. And like, again, that sounds like community where it's like, I went up to the Philly Game Shop at PAX. I was handing out little business cards and like little postcards for Underfoot. And I like went over to the Philly Game Shop people and I was like, hey, I'm Ella. I'm a Philly based game artist. This is my game. It's my senior thesis. I go to More. Can I advertise it here? An instant yes.
Yeah, we love that.
And they still have my cards in their shop. Like I went a few weeks ago and I was just like,
awesome.
That level of care for like community games is crazy.
Local art.
Yeah.
Local new art.
Yeah, and they're selling a bunch of other stuff, like even artists that they employ, like Shane _illustrations on Instagram, another university arts grad, does a lot of art. Did some live drawings for Roleplay Improv.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who I recently joined.
Congratulations.
I think they'll have made the cast announcement by this point, by the time this episode comes out. So
awesome.
Very excited to talk about that.
Yeah.
On another day.
Again, it's just that thing where it's like, it's a small world.
It really is. Especially Philly.
Yeah.
Because if you want to do something with a niche group of people, just make yourself loud and they'll see you.
Yeah. Be annoying.
Be annoying.
Ask.
Because
like what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They say no. I mean, I'm currently working with Inkwell Ideas on a series of illustrations for their paid homebrew content. And last year they were like, no, we won't have you for an internship because you need to tighten up your portfolio. You need to, be less green, get close to a degree, and then we'll talk. This year, they're one of my highest paying clients.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Hey.
It's because I was annoying. I badgered the PAX team for a press badge because I didn't know if I was going to be exhibiting with Weirdworks or not. And then I got on their press list, and then I emailed them and set up a meeting.
That's sick.
Thanks.
Take notes, people. I need to take notes, honestly. Well,
I think you're doing pretty well for
I'm doing
yourself.
okay. I'm auditioning now.
You're booked and busy.
I'm trying. I think you touched on it a little already, but like if you want to just like take what you said and make it a quick, succinct little thing, how do you want to be remembered?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's tough. Again, I don't think I'm shooting for fame and fortune. I'm shooting for livable wage, get published in a lot of cool materials, and work with very cool people. I mean, like when it comes to like my legacy, I'm not even sure like what I want for myself when it comes to like kids or anything like that, because I'll be at PAC and I'll be like, oh, they're so cute. And I'll think about it for a longer period of time. And I'll be like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's
like,
what teaching does to you.
Yeah. I mean, I love my work so much. It's just like, I don't know how I would balance all of it, but I don't know. I think I just want to be published. I think that's the biggest thing.
Hell yeah.
I want to be out there. I want to continue to meet new people, because even if I'm not going to be like this theater term ingenue in games for a long time, I want to be that figure who's able to help another college student. Because like I was invited to a Game Found networking event after the first night of PAX, and there were maybe 5 femmes in the room, 3 at the end of the night, one of which was my art director, B. And again, out of those femmes, B was the only person of color that was also like there. So even if, again, I'm a white woman, I'm not going to be like, the diversity that I think needs to be in the game space. I want to at least be part of that to make it easier for other women and femmes similar to me to get in there and bring their ideas to the table.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Thanks.
And needed.
Yeah.
So, well, wonderful.
Thank you.
That just about wraps us up for our conversation on the pod. Thanks, Ella.
Thanks for having me. This is really fun.
Yay. Of course. Absolutely. Obviously, before you go, I like to ask this question as well, because this community is so rich and ever growing. And I want this podcast to be ever growing as well. And so, do you have someone that you recommend that I bring on this podcast? It doesn't have to be somebody I already know. It absolutely can be. But someone that you think would be a, cool conversation to have. Someone Philly-based or Philly-related, and who just has art that you want them to share.
Yeah, one of my dear friends, Hadley Precht.
Hadley.
She is incredibly talented. Her work is so different than mine. It's like ooky spooky ink work, sci-fi, a lot of tubes and tentacles and corpses and crazy stuff. When I first met her, I was so intimidated by her because she had like the goth look, the blue hair, the smudged eyeliner, and she would be like drawing like these crazy compositions. Incredibly talented. And then she'd open her mouth and she'd be like, "Oh my God, hi Ella."
Yeah.
Just the sweetest girl in the world, and
She's
has
really
honestly
cool.
made my experience at Moore since UArts closed a lot better. Yeah, so she's awesome.
Great. Putting her on the list.
Yay!
I feel like I already should have had Hadley on the list, if I'm being completely honest. I love Hadley. We'll make that work.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks. Well, before you go, where can people find you? What do you want people to see? All of it will be included on this episode, as well as anywhere it gets posted, social media wise. So promote away.
All right. My website is ellacarter.art. My itch.io page is ellacarter.itch.io. And my Instagram is ellac.arterart. It's a little bit confusing.
Because it's like a play on your last name.
Yes.
Yeah.
One more quick editor's note. There is a Kickstarter for Underfoot, so if you are interested in supporting the project financially, you can find the link in Ella's Instagram bio, and we will also post a link when we post this episode. I will let you know it does close on Saturday, March 29th, so make sure you head over to check it out before then. Any and all support is appreciated, and depending on what you are able to donate, there are some pretty cool rewards available as well. That's all.
How can people find Underfoot?
Oh, it would be on my itch page.
Cool.
Although, hopefully, if some of these publishing meetings work out, I'll be able to circle back. We can talk about it more at length, because that'll also be you would get a publishing credit.
Oh boy.
Yeah, isn't that
true.
crazy?
Yeah, wild. Who'd have thunk?
Me.
Not me.
Me, I thunk.
You thunk, not me thunk, but I'm happy to thunk.
Cavemen be like.
Oh, yeah. Just a reminder as well, you can find our homebrew item page, Ornaments of Omoria, on Instagram at Ornaments of Omoria, Omoria. Omoria is the world that I built.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a homebrew 5e setting. I guess I didn't even talk about that much. That's where our campaign is set. It's Omoria. I spent way too long creating just hundreds of years of lore and setting for this game that we play. And so now we're trying to monetize it, because why not?
Thanks for letting me illustrate all of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe when I come back, we can talk about that possible Philly homebrew zine
Ooh.
we've been throwing around. Ooh, intrigue.
Any new stuff that Ella and I are working on, I will actively be trying to keep everyone following this podcast in the loop on. So,
because I would love to work with even more Philly creatives, as many as we possibly can.
Exactly. So reach out to Ella if you're interested in her work. Go check it all out. But yeah, thanks again, Ella. This was super fun. Thanks for having a convo with me. And thank you for spending some time of your day to listen to this episode of The Philly Phone Book, a podcast archive. I was your host, Gideon Caro McDonald. Real art is made by real people. Please thank your SEPTA drivers. Go birds.
Go birds.
And have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.